Hey everyone, welcome back to Blow Up. Today we've got a killer lineup of malicious compliance and family drama stories, from dating a neighbor's husband to wild workplace antics and insane family reunions. Buckle up for 5 wild tales that'll leave you laughing and thinking, what would I do? Let's dive right in. I, 33F, became friendly with my neighbor, 37F. Let's call her Emily, after I helped her move a few boxes into our building while her husband, 35M, was in the hospital. I didn't meet Emily's husband until a few weeks later when she invited me over to dinner as thanks. When I arrived first, Emily's husband had run out to pick up some wine, but when he came back I was shocked to see Matt, a guy I had gone on 3 dates with a year ago before he suddenly ghosted me. He had a terrible poker face and tried to pretend like he didn't recognize me. I don't play those games. I asked how long they had been married and Emily said, 3 years. She recognized there was tension and asked if we knew each other. He said no. I said yes and told Emily that I had gone on dates with him a year ago. She became very upset and asked me to leave, which I did. The next day, Emily reached out and said that she didn't appreciate that I lied about when I dated her husband. He told her we had dated 4 years ago before they were married. I didn't even live in this city 4 years ago. And even if we had dated 4 years ago, they had been engaged at that point. Either way, he would have been cheating. I sent her screenshots of our texts from the year before and from Bumble of his profile, which was still active. She never responded, but when I saw her in the lobby yesterday, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. I don't know if they're still together, and Emily hasn't responded to my texts. So AITH for telling her the truth? Yikes. Telling the truth can really stir the pot. What would you do if you found out your neighbor's husband was an ex? Drop your thoughts below, truth or tact. Not an update, I'm just bringing up a possible cause of my cousin's entitled behavior and mindset. Go read my last post for context. My cousin, let's call her Mia, was always disgustingly lazy and selfish with everyone, including her oncological mother, but this behavior was allowed by the entire family and actively promoted by her father. Despite her generally flawed personality, Mia was a genius academically. She always had impeccable grades. She used to be obsessed with it. On the other hand, I've never been a very good student in high school. I had no learning issues, I was just lazy when it came to academics, and since I wasn't planning to go to university but to work, it didn't matter as long as I didn't fail the whole grade. In Argentina, universities are public and don't require you to have had a high grade point average in high school to apply anyway. The thing is, she and her parents always thought she was an untouchable deity due to her academic achievements. You can already guess where this is going. We both were raised practically as sisters, so you can imagine how close we were since we can remember. Since we were kids, Mia treated her own mom like sh*t, insulting her, demanding stuff and making fun of her. She wouldn't help her with the slightest chore either. This always angered me. The worst part is that her father used to rebuke my auntie every single time she tried to discipline her. If my aunt forced her to even take out the trash or clean her room, prepare for Troy to burn. Mia would run and tell her father how her mother mistreated her. They'd also let Mia mock me about my grades. They themselves used to make jokes and hurtful comments about it since I was little. It really used to affect me when I was a child, but since I was a teenager I couldn't care less. Even with this, they really tried to make me feel bad about it. No, they weren't worried about my future at all. Actually, they were happy about my failures because then they could compare me with their daughter and criticize the poor upbringing my mother was giving me. Once they even told me I was going to be Mia's maid when we grew up. I was 7 years old BTW. My uncle, let's call him the Sarit by now, used to treat my aunt like a servant rather than a partner, and this behavior extended to Mia. Imagine letting your oncological wife/mother do all chores without helping her at all or even accompanying her during her chemotherapy. I dare to say I was a daughter for my aunt more than Mia. Even though how they treated me, I've always loved her as a second mother. Now I comprehend she only was a carpet for the Sarit and Mia. Mia has the worst of both of her parents. She's a cynical, a freeloader and an ungrateful being as her father, and a pick-me carpet for her boyfriend who only uses her, just like her mother was for her husband. Sometimes I feel bad for her, even though I know I shouldn't. I have to admit I used to be a carpet for my family just like my mother, but it's over. Family drama at its finest. When you're treated like a doormat, sometimes you just have to laugh. Have you ever felt trapped in family expectations? Let me know in the comments. On Friday I took my girlfriend, her daughter who is a senior in high school, and her daughter's boyfriend, to go see Blue Man Group. I invited girlfriend's daughter because she's a theater kid and she wanted to bring her boyfriend so it wouldn't be weird. Adding more teenagers to a situation kinda guarantees weird will happen, but with age comes wisdom, and arguing with a teenager when her mom is right there seems like a no-win proposition. so boyfriend got a free ticket and tagged along. We all load up into my car and drive to the show. It's a good show, we all enjoyed ourselves, and I went home after dropping everyone off. Called it a successful mission, everyone was happy. I went to bed content and woke up to the worst kind of morning. My dog needed grooming. This is a very traumatic process for both of us, but man, you could tell he walked in the room because the smell just punched you square in the face. It was necessary. The process starts by drugging him with breakfast. It was vet-prescribed anti-anxiety meds. The drugging is necessary because at one point when I reclaimed him from that place of horrors, the groomer said he was a little anxious. Read, a gigantic pain in the ass. So drugs. Because if you're going to leave your fur baby with someone for hours, best to be as accommodating as possible, and it's kind of hard to be a pain in the ass when you're high as a kite. Regrettably, at this point the jig is up once he's drugged. Because he knows he gets drugged before he gets groomed. There is much wailing and gnashing of teeth. He refuses to get out of the car, and forgets how to legs once he's pried out of the car. Saturday was no different. He was feeling particularly uncooperative too. Job got done though. Few hours later I reclaimed him. He forgave me eventually. Earlier today I got a phone call from my girlfriend. And she was already wheezing. Once it was understood this was mirth and not sobbing, I got the tea. All of this is secondhand. I have no idea how fraud prevention or finance in general work. At some point in the past, the boyfriend or the boyfriend's parents had their card details stolen. Which sucks. However, the money that had been stolen was returned. Because the purchases made weren't legitimate. Boyfriend learned the wrong lesson from that particular sequence of events. He thought if he made a bunch of purchases and lost the card, he'd get all the things he wanted for free. So, boyfriend, thinking he was being clever, anonymously gifted a bunch of expensive things he thought his girlfriend might like and had them shipped to her house. He then lost his card in the backseat of my car. Whether that was to implicate me or what, I have no idea. Boyfriend claimed that his card had been lost or stolen and a bunch of purchases had been made with it after it had been lost. Right after he got confirmation the package was delivered. Whoever he claimed this to investigated, and found a bunch of anonymous purchases being shipped to a location he'd shipped numerous things to before. Just with her name or his on them, not anonymous. Not being stupid, said financial institution promptly said, nah. I am unsure if boyfriend was already in trouble or what, but he really was after what happened next. Remember how my dog and I had an impromptu wrestling match to get him into the place where I outsourced my bath guilt? Yeah, card got knocked out of my car and onto the ground. I didn't notice because I was busy trying to extricate a very unhappy and already kind of stoned 38 pounds canine without breaking anything. Said previously ejected card had been picked up by someone and used. A lot. In a lot of places. Because there was already a very recent lost or stolen card that was firmly not. Apparently it's going to be a lot harder to get the funds back for the actual bogus charges. Boyfriend was apparently very upset with this sequence of events. He was properly devastated when my girlfriend's daughter dumped his ass. I'd like to think she dumped him because he tried to throw me under the bus. I'm actually almost positive she dumped his ass because of his fraudulent little care package. Said package was delivered to her father's house. With current resident as the intended recipient. From anonymous. It included a big bottle of fragrance that girlfriend's daughter likes to wear, and some lingerie in her size. Along with several other very expensive things. Which were remote-controlled and anatomically unlikely. Girlfriend's ex-husband found this hilarious and hasn't stopped giving his daughter a hard time about it. So today I drove my mother to an appointment. We both qualify for handicap parking and I do have handicap plates. I walked my mother into the office where she has an appointment, and there is almost no seating. So I tell her I'll wait outside since I don't need to be in the appointment with her. It is a really nice day, so I sit on a concrete retaining wall about 15 feet from my car and read on my phone. After about 20 minutes I notice a woman about my age has pulled up behind my car and is just looking at it. After a couple of minutes she spots me, comes over, and demands I let her use my phone. I asked her why, and she said her phone wasn't working and she wanted to report someone illegally using a handicap spot. I asked her where that car was, since you could see the little wheelchair on my plate from where we were, and there was no other handicap spot in view. She points at my car. I asked what made it an illegal park job, and her response was that was where she always parks. I told her that was my car, it wasn't moving until my passenger came out, and it was legally parked. She stomped off towards my car, so I started recording her. When she reared back to kick the car I yelled out that she was on candid camera, and I had her plate number if she damaged the car and tried to run off. She got in her car and drove away. About 30 minutes later a city cop came by, stopped, looked at my car and then drove off. so I assumed she found a working phone somewhere. Sometimes people take rules way too seriously. Would you confront a rule breaker like that or just laugh it off? Share your thoughts in the comments. This was the incident where I finally let my sister have it like never before. I got a random knock at my door, and it was my sister that I've been in sea with for a while now. My parents previously acted like she had no car to come out with, let alone have the guts. Boy, were they wrong. I was shocked to see her but kept my cool at first. She wanted her mail from us. We had that mail sitting around for months and eventually it got thrown away. I told my sister I'd go over to our parents' house and look for any she might have. And right as I started walking, she asked if I still have her cat, and if she could have him back. I told her I do have the cat and I'm not giving him back. That's when she went off on me. I held my arm up and told her I wasn't doing this right now. And as I turned around to look back, I saw that cat freaking running away from her. That cat likes just about everybody and he was off like a shot because she was there. He did not want to go with her. He knew exactly what kind of place she'd take him to. My sister angrily got back in her car and started saying terrible things about me as I was trying to walk away. That's when I lost it and yelled at her to leave. She acted like she didn't hear me, so I just pointed to the road and she flipped out screaming, "You want me to leave?" I yelled back at her again to get out and she started driving away while yelling that she's lost everybody here, I'm a bad brother, etc. She gets outside the gate, then stops and starts backing up. So I closed the gate before she could get back in. She starts flipping out again and screaming, "I hope mom was worth it to you," because she tries to make our mother at fault for everything. Then she said she'd report me for keeping her cat. Which I doubt she'd do because she's a drug addict that doesn't want cops snooping around. I yelled at her that when she really lost me, was when she told me our mother was going to die for crossing her. And then I called her out for not buying winter clothes for her kids. She claimed that was after her ex got custody of them. But no, it was before that. Her youngest son came to me in 39 degrees with nothing but a t-shirt and shorts. He didn't even own a coat. I spent $200 on clothes for her kids from the thrift stores. And she still owes me $800 for unpaid power bills and a couple of small loans. She made a really confused face when I yelled that to her because she likely forgot. But quickly went back to yelling. We kept screeching at each other through the gate and she kept talking about how I chose mom over her. So I brought up her biological father, who wasn't there for basically her entire childhood. My sister spent most of her childhood saying he'd come for her. But he never did. She put the idea of this man on a pedestal for her whole life. But she had to go looking for him when she was in her 30s. He never paid child support, cheated on our mother, became a drug addict and then went to prison, and then ran off to Arizona after getting out of prison. The guy saw her one last time when my sister was 2 years old, and then nothing for 30 years. She yelled her father is a good guy. I yelled back her father is a piece of shit. Then I called her a narcissist who just blames others, and she needs a villain in her life just to function. And then by some miracle our parents showed up in their car. Our mother tried to soothe her and I walked away for a couple minutes. And during that time the cat I'd saved from my sister appeared and was following me extra closely while meowing. He does not usually do that. He was clearly very stressed. I picked him up and put him in my house. Then I went back to see if our mother had calmed my sister down. But she was still losing her mind and saying crap about me. I ended up yelling at her some more through the gate. And after I walked away a second time, my mother told me my sister called me a fucker, right before she drove away. I was furious. But unloading on her like that was so cathartic. She made me miserable for nearly my entire life. I immediately got the cat booked at the vet to be chipped that Monday, and now he's registered in my name. So if my sister steals him back I can call the police on her. And I won't hesitate to do that. Also, I wish I'd remembered to call her out on how I know she's a cheater. She still thinks I don't know. She had at least 3 affairs. One of which was with one of our biological cousins. She's a really fucked up person. And she's currently blaming it all on her dead boyfriend that unalived himself by ramming his car into a tree after she broke up with him. The guy cheated on her with another woman in her own bed. That woman apparently somehow passed away too not long later. My sister claimed that guy's cheating was why she didn't want to come home before she was evicted. No, she was out drinking, getting high and probably sleeping around. She was barely home 2 nights a week, barely fed her kids and didn't even buy them winter clothes. My parents and I stepped up and took care of them in her stead until their dad took them away at the beginning Christmas break and transferred them to new schools. Then he took my sister back to court to finally finalize their divorce and get primary custody. That's just a few of the reasons why we evicted my sister. She is a terrible person and pretty much a lost cause at this point. Addition, I had this post all written out last week for Monday posting. But then just a few days ago my sister messaged me from a new number out of the blue, and the way she was texting I can only describe as childish and detached. Like someone who was struggling to put together a sentence. She somehow had the idea that our mother now had my phone number. Which is weird. And the way she was texting me also seemed so detached that I didn't recognize her. First she said she used to be a part of my family. And then she called herself my ex-sister. She's also started calling our mother by name. I did not say anything impolite to her, and was genuinely clueless what she was messaging me about because she was so vague. So I just went next door to my parents and handed off my phone to my mother. My mother did not really say anything rude to my sister over text. She even said she'd never stop loving her. But also noted her disappointment on the way my sister showed up to the hospital to see our mother when she was being treated. My mother went into the hospital for a week not too long ago, and my sister visited her at 1 a.m., and did nothing but talk about herself and how she was a victim when our mother was laying there sick from severe vitamin deficiency from a multitude of different causes from medication to a stomach defect. My sister's response to our mother was curt, but I wouldn't say rude. My mother then said that all she wanted my sister to know was that our older stepbrother had another child, and didn't mean to upset her. Then my sister said that she's not upset, and won't let our mother or her family upset her anymore. Even though she was the one causing us all severe stress, as my past posts about her will show. Then my sister responded with unconditional love, and called that a joke. Then told our mother to eat well and said her grandchildren need her. She spoke as if those kids were not hers anymore. My sister obviously blames us for her losing everything. Even though it was all her fault. She acts like we should have had sympathy. But all the years of mistreatment from her added up. And we just couldn't take it anymore. Wow, that's a family showdown for the ages. When betrayal and past grudges explode, nothing holds back. Have you ever had to cut someone out for good? Let me know your most dramatic family moment in the comments. That's it for today's wild ride of malicious compliance and family drama. Which story left you speechless or laughing out loud? Drop your reactions and any similar experiences in the comments. If you enjoyed these real-life tales, hit that like button, subscribe to blow up, and ring the bell so you never miss another explosive story. Thanks for watching. Stay real and keep blowing up those expectations.